Name of the game is fuel mileage, and that game here today is NASCAR 07. Welcome back for another NASCAR Cup Series race. Michigan International Speedway, race number 2 at Michigan on the season. It'll be the GFS Marketplace 400. And for today's race, it is, as I mentioned at the very beginning, going to more than likely be a fuel mileage race. We ran caution-free. In fact, this was the first of 2 caution-free races we have had so far this season. The last one actually came yesterday in the Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis. Came home with a second-place run, and Elliott Sadler was able to pull off the victory there. We actually had 4 different winners in the 4 different Crown Jewel races this season. But as far as this race goes here today, we are going to be starting way deeper in the field. Yesterday in India, qualified 16th, ran pretty much top 5, top 10 most of the day. Actually was able to lead some laps along the way as well. But then we go into this race here today in Michigan, and it is not looking very likely that we're going to lead a bunch of laps in this race. To go down in specifics, our first Michigan race this season, we finished 4th, and I actually did not lead a single lap in this race. So the likelihood of leading a lap today, more than likely, going to be slim to none as well. We're going to be saving gas from the very beginning in the hopes that we can make it on 3 stops just to give ourselves a chance, because there were obviously drivers who did make it on 3 stops earlier this season. We ran out of gas on the final lap. I was running 3rd, ended up dropping to 4th on the final lap of the race while running out of fuel because there was less than 10 cars that finished on the lead lap. So we're going to need a good run, and we have to survive, of course, the start, which is going to be wild, as we all know restarts to be here at Michigan. Ethan Chua, thanks for tuning in down in the stream. You're the first in the chat. Without further ado, let's get this race underway. Greg Biffle on the pole. Green flag in the air. 4 races to go now in the regular season. You see the point standings scrolling at the top of the screen. And we'll keep an eye on those chase bubble drivers as well. Very initial start here. A lot of 2 and 3 wide racing off turn 2 down the back straightaway. 2 positions lost on the initial start here for Dave Blaney. Actually started last with no qualifying at Michigan earlier in the season. So we did start further back in the field than what we are starting today. But, I mean, how are we going to fight through this mess right here? It is pandemonium going on in front of us. Backing up turns 1 and 2 quite a bit, trying to find a way to the inside of David Stremme in the 40 car, and does. 3 wide on the inside of Paul Menard. Reed Sorensen practically had the 40 car cleared. And making the move. Net gain of 1 position in the first 2 laps of the race. Make that 2 positions at the line. And Mark Martin's out in front after Greg Biffle started on the pole. Might have led lap 1, might not have, I really don't know. Mark Martin definitely led lap 2, and now Kyle Busch in the 5 car is out in front of the field on lap 3. Getting a draft off Robbie Gordon on the back straightaway faintly here. Getting a pole to the inside of McMurray, the 133 car. Fantasy driver as well. Barreling through. Still 3 wide. Still making passes. I should say, by the way, 2 nights ago we ran at Indianapolis. I don't know why I said last night we ran there. We actually ran at Watkins Glen yesterday. I'd like to forget about that race. 41st place finish, worst of the season for Dave Blaney. And that is why we did not clinch the championship not only last night, but the likelihood of clinching tonight for the regular season title doesn't look very promising either. We would have to win the race, and Greg Biffle would have to finish 21st or worse for us to be able to win this regular season title tonight. And with Biffle qualifying on the pole, the likelihood that he's going to finish that far back in the field isn't as likely unless he fails to make it to the finish. And the likelihood of us winning, considering we didn't lead a single lap here in the first race at Michigan this season, also not looking very likely for ourselves either. We're definitely faster than the cars that we qualified behind, at least in the middle of the pack. So we're making passes. We're up 12 positions to 24th. Good news is, with the field still bunched together, we're able to get a huge draft off a lot of these cars we're racing around, and that's keeping our straightaway speed up by quite a bit. Casey Mears with a late dive, getting into turn 3, 3 wide. Blaney backed up the 14 of Sterling Marlin as well. 39.015, fastest lap of the race through the first 5 for the 22, who is in position number 22. We'll pass the 42, coming out of turn 2. Like a poet. Why is Trix Jr. in the back? I don't know. Just didn't qualify well. Jamie McMurray was back there too. As far as guys who have won a race in their Cup careers up to this point. Looking for 18th underneath Kurt Busch, who had a top 10 at Watkins Glen yesterday. Probably the biggest long shot to make the chase of those that are still mathematically in contention. Would need a lot to go his way in these final 4 races. Kenseth now out in front of the field. 4 different drivers have at least put their nose to the front of the field. If Greg Biffle did lead lap 1 before falling out of the lead, then Kenseth will be the 4th different leader in these first 7 laps. A lot of leading changes going on at the front of the field. But don't look now. Dave Blaney's up to 16th. Doing a good job not giving up the bottom. Way too low off the exit of turn 2. Kind of got a little loose. I was turning way too aggressively off the corner, and I had a bit of a moment there. Kevin Harvick will take the lead. Harvick won the first Michigan race, so no surprise he's out in front of the field. Not only had the fastest car in the field and led the most laps in that race, but he was also able to manage his fuel on top of leading all those laps, which is just absurd, but he was able to do it. So we'll see if he can do it again. Jeff Green, just outside the top 10 in the point standings as he blocks Dave Blaney for 14th. He needs all the spots he can get, especially with the drivers he's going to have to beat. A lot of defending champions. Matt Kenseth, Bobby Labonte, future champion Jimmy Johnson, who would have actually won the title in this 2006 season, but of course, prior to the start of the season, wouldn't have won a Cup title prior, but was definitely in contention for several. Really struggling to get by Jeff Green here. Wonder if we found our limit as far as the fast cars we're trying to get around. Nope, gonna get underneath of Green this time. Green gonna side draft Blaney. Blaney needs to stay to the inside of him getting into the next corner if he's gonna want to complete this pass, and it looks like he should be able to do that in turns 3 and 4, and does. So up to 14th, race high, lap 10. Kyle Busch back in the lead after Harvick led for a few. 5 different leaders now in this race. Kyle Busch is the first driver to lead more than once in the first 10 laps. It's like a pack race up at the front of the field. Jeff Gordon, our Watkins Glen winner, his first win of the season, still sitting 4th in the point standings. He's in the top 10. I could see him up there. He's one of our rivals. In fact, I think he's the only rival. So he is probably going to be the tough pass in the early going of this race. Can't damage the car. Got to keep it clean to keep the speed in it, because probably going to be lacking speed for most of the night. Bobby Labonte on the outside lane gets passed by Stewart through 3 and 4. Dave Blaney drafting up behind Stewart. Still a lot of 2 and 3 wide racing going on, which is keeping, again, this pack close together. 3 wide nearly for the lead on the front stretch up there, as well as just a couple rows in front of the 22. Martin, who has led a lap already, he's fallen back. That was a dangerous situation there with Tony Stewart in the 20 car. Kind of very slightly nudged that left rear corner panel. Settled in 11th. It does look like a lot of the contending chasers at the very least are up towards the front of the pack already, so no surprise there. Jarrett almost making contact with Ryan Newman in the 12. Big run for Blaney. Can't quite get underneath Stewart. Oh, big block by Dale Jarrett. Tony Stewart might have had to lift there. Pass made on Newman for 10th. And Stewart underneath Jarrett for 8th. Blaney's got a big run on both cars. Side draft each other, slowing each other down enough. Blaney drives it in deep into the corner. And again, nudges that left rear corner panel of Tony Stewart's race car. It's getting dicey up here. Dale Jr. now leads. 6 leaders in this race. And 14 laps. Gordon about to be the 7th. If he can lead off turn 4. This is obscure. Gordon leads. 7 different drivers have led in the first 15 laps at Michigan. And I think Kyle Busch is still the only driver to lead more than once. Blaney under Stewart. He is clear. May be able to hang with Dale Jarrett for 8th. Into turns 3 and 4. Blaney's going to get by him. Gordon still leads with his teammate Kyle Busch in 2nd, right behind him. Billy Kramer, thanks for tuning in also. Jimmy Johnson's the only driver in the top 7 who hasn't led a lap yet today. Busch back in front for the 3rd time as he cleared Gordon off turn 2. It's amazing how quick Dale Jr. fell back to 7th after leading just a couple laps ago even. It's an 8-car breakaway. Stewart's losing time, despite the changing of positions, including at the very forefront of the field. Jimmy Johnson trying to become the 8th different driver to lead a lap. Hendrick Motorsports 1, 2, 3 at the very front of the field. Blaney going to go to the outside of Dale Earnhardt Jr. I don't know that that's going to work. He's occupying the bottom, and I just wanted to see what I could do there. Maybe that over-under move. Going to get to the inside of Earnhardt on the front stretch. And now we're in the passing lane going into turn 1, which is the bottom. Clear of Earnhardt for 7th. Big run for Blaney on Kevin Harvick. Couldn't stay underneath him. Backed up the entry just a little bit again. Harvick checked up, and I checked up right after. Really try not to make contact with anybody. Block on Dale Jr. Did not get a great run off turn 4. Stayed in front of Dale at least. And now Gordon's leading. I mean, we've probably had almost a dozen lead changes already. I'm not kidding. Oh, we had 16 in the Brickyard 400 a couple days ago. Have almost as many in the first 20 laps of this race. And I haven't led yet. These guys are so aggressive. Hence the lead changes. And even the blocking for position right in the middle of this pack. Dale Jr. is kind of losing out just a little bit. Oh, Harvick didn't want to stay to the bottom. I thought he was going to have enough of a push to maybe get underneath the Kyle Busch. Oh, I got really tight there. Getting into turn 3. I was hard on the brakes. I didn't think it was going to keep from going up the racetrack. I'm surprised I didn't lose more time in the middle of the corner there. I tried to commit. The speed back on the front stretch, it's still going to get by Biffle through 1 and 2. Blaney to the outside of Jimmy Johnson. Tried to do this on Dale Jr. a little earlier. Car just kind of shoves up there on that end of the track. No, man, that was tight. Still keeping Biffle in the rear view. Oh, Harvick almost making contact with Johnson in a late block on the front stretch. And Blaney's up to 5th. What a drive from 36th. No stack-ups needed. Just kind of picking them up and putting them down in these first 22 laps. And going for 4th on Jimmy Johnson. A Chevy brigade up here at the front of the field right now. And Kyle Busch trying to get back to the inside of Jeff Gordon. Biffle followed Blaney to get to 5th. Busch is there under Gordon. Big dive by Blaney. Gordon goes a bit wide. Side by side for 3rd still between the 22 and the 29. Into turns 3 and 4 and up to 3rd. Oh man, Gordon's probably going to try to take us out here. But he's got to run. He might go for the lead first. We'll follow Gordon to get to 2nd here behind Kyle, or in front of Kyle Busch, but behind the 24. Would be the ideal situation to go about this. Blaney now up to 2nd as he slides clear of Busch off turn 2. I'm impressed. 24 laps, 36 to 24th for Dave Blaney. What a fight to get through the field while everything was so tightly bunched together, and I'm sure the lead changes that were constantly going on at the front of the field held the pack up enough for us to stay in the draft with these faster cars and was eventually able to make our moves. Now we're just going to sit behind Gordon. We're going to save some gas. Maybe try to get away from the rest of the field. We're in our prime position. I'd like to get my bonus points, but I really don't feel like getting wrecked by Gordon in the early going either, so... Good spot to be. Fuel mileage, not terrible right now. I mean, we hit the start-finish line right at lap 26 for the fuel indicator to go to halfway out of gas. So we are right at our number for this first run. We've had so much drafting help. And we have been able to save maybe more than we did in the first race with Jeff Gordon. Share draft with Gordon, make him an ally. I'm going to hold off on that, at least for now, until we get further away from Kyle Busch. Because I don't know that we can actually... It's kind of weird with this game. I can run closer to his back bumper when I don't share draft. When you share draft, it kind of creates like a bubble effect there. There's not as much of like a push going on. I shoved bad in turns 1 and 2 there. Gordon can lead all the laps he wants. We're in here to try to win this race. I want to win at my home track, dang it. We came here so many times this season. Well, only twice this season, but I never seem to win here. I want to win here bad. It's our last chance to do it. Not worth getting wrecked either. Well, I'm not going to try to pass him. So we're not going to get wrecked if we just sit behind him. You know, we're all right. 38.791, fastest lap of the race. Best thing we can do with doing this also, maybe Jeff Gordon doesn't make it to lap 50 and put a little bit more fuel in our back pocket. Definitely did not qualify nearly as well as I would have liked, but in the end, it's kind of worked itself out, where we were able to save enough gas and still make the passes on the cars necessary to get up to second. Field's starting to spread apart a little more. We went caution-free at Michigan this season, caution-free in the Brickyard 400. These bigger racetracks outside of Pocono, they seem to lend to not as many yellows. So far, so good. 38.791 again. Plus, if he pits a lap early, we can get our bonus points that way for the security side of things. 5 bonus points at least, maybe not the 10. He can block me all he wants. I'm not passing. Or likely he is to run the very bottom of the racetrack, I guess. So actually might work out better for us this way. Is he going to say that every straightaway that he's putting a block on me? I haven't really paid too much attention to my crew chief. Kind of been just in the zone, and he might be yelling that at me every lap. Yeah, see? He might be doing that every straightaway, and I just now picked up on it. Been behind him for about 10 laps now. Got the second at lap 24 and currently lap 34. I get it, guy. Who's Dave Blaney's crew chief at this time? Try to call him by his real name. I have no clue. He's crew chiefing the 22 car at Bill Davis Racing. Back in 2006, excuse me, specifically. I get it. The 24 car's upset. He's going to try to block me. I'm not trying to pass him either. You would think as a crew chief he would know the strategy of his own driver. Did we not debrief this Monday morning? In our debrief following last week's race? I also remember the crew chiefs on NASCAR Thunder 2004. I remember one of the sound bites was, "He's your friend now." I thought that's hilarious. Like, oh, he's my friend. 38.641 fastest lap of the race. Because I don't want to lose him, we'll go with the two-tire strategy. We'll probably cycle out in front of him. We can get some laps led that way also. As soon as he gets close to me, we're just going to let him go. Draft behind him again. We can save fuel. And he can go on his merry way to leading the most laps in the race. I'm all right with doing this. Because we have to save from the very drop of the green flag today to the very end. If we're going to make it to where we need to be to win this race, assuming it goes caution-free like it did earlier in the season. Not going to get to any lap traffic before we get to this first pit stop. But the 24 and the 22 are moving. Kyle Busch has quite a gap between himself and the rest of the cars behind him as well. But yeah, fourth on back still looks like it's a mess. We're definitely going to have to push to lap 50. Got to keep hoping that the gas will be saved enough to that point. Trying to really back the corners up even more now that we're well ahead of everybody else. Kind of pulling back a little on the straightaways. Backed up early into 3. Actually rolled really nicely down here. And we are getting very close to that first pit stop. Second, third in points. Going into the first race. I mean, he is red hot right now. Coming off a win. I think he's got 4 straight top 5s. But he's leading laps in every race, too. We took him out of the win at Pocono. Indianapolis, he was right there at the finish. But he has been nuclear. And here he is at the front of the field leading all these laps at Michigan. He's probably going to be the one guy we're going to have to take down later in the race. It's going to be tough for him to get to Biffle. But I definitely think he can get Harvick in third. He's already super close to him as it is. Well, we are catching 2 lappers at the very tail end of the field. I didn't think there was going to be any chance we were going to catch any lap cars. Guess they're off the pace enough. They're running side by side currently. So Dave Blaney and Jeff Gordon have to fight around them. That would be Reed Sorensen and Paul Menard, or the last 2 on the leaderboard. And a big run by Gordon and Blaney down the back straightaway into turns 3 and 4. Blaney backs the corner up a ton. Gordon, excuse me, down to the inside in the corner. And pretty easy there. Big gap to the next lap car. Now we're definitely not going to catch anybody else before we hit pit road. At least until anybody else makes their stops also. There was a way to make it 51 laps. I would definitely try that. Because every lap matters, but at the same time, I really don't think that we can get that far. Well, we've got pit stops going on. First takers on the pit road coming to lap 47 for them. And quite a few of them are on their way in. Michael Turner, thanks for tuning in. Fuel mileage tonight for the first run, looking all right. It looks like Gordon's going to be pitting this time by also. So Jeff Gordon on his way to pit road. And Dave Blaney in the 22 car will lead his first lap of the race to receive 5 bonus points. Blaney is now the 9th different driver to lead a lap in these first 48 laps of the race, 8 of which were in those first 20 laps. Absurd battle towards the front of the field, which again allowed for us, even after starting 36, to be able to stay in the draft. Nobody was able to break away until Blaney got the second behind Jeff Gordon. And both of them were able to two-car tango it away from the rest of the field. We should get to lap 50. Now, we did speed at Michigan the first 2 races we had here. So can't afford to speed. Gonna have Jeff Gordon clear. Gordon's gonna be a lap down entering turn 3. Still trying to get the speed off the exit of turn 4. Almost a 10-second lead back to the next car. Straightaway speed by Gordon. Oh boy, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Stay away from him. I did not mean to do that. I swear. It wasn't much. But it probably wasn't appreciated either. Alright, we're coming in. Don't speed. Oh, I'm coming in hot. Damn, I was way too hot. I slid coming off the exit of the corner. Well, we're going to go right sides only anyway. Going to put a half around a wedge into the car, kind of tighten it up a bit. 2-tire stop. Oh, man, I always speed here. And now we got a problem on the pit stop, too. It's making a bad situation worse. When I slid coming off the apron, or onto the apron from the actual racing line, why not use more? I was trying, dude. I had them locked up, all right? I obviously know to use more brake when I've sped here before. I still got to find that fine line of how much is enough, because I clearly have to be braking earlier. He's going to be way ahead of us, because Menard and Sorensen just went by. Yeah, Kyle Busch is the next car in our rearview mirror. Tony Rain's still out on the racetrack. Yeah, it's tough. Self-inflicted errors, man. He can't make it on fuel. That's true. I mean, that's the good news. I'm hoping I can. That's our third speeding penalty and 4 green flag stops at Michigan. I took right sides only to minimize the blow. "22 seconds roughly behind Reigns. We're pulling away from Kyle Busch. Not sure exactly how that's the case, but it is. And Jeff Gordon's gone. Worst part is, it's going to be a lot harder to save fuel with no drafting help now. I'm not drafting behind these guys because they're going to be way too slow. Sorensen and Menard. Passing them both 3 wide through 1 and 2. The first 2 times I sped, it was really close. You know, we were mile, 2 mile per hour over the limit. And, getting to the line, I thought I knew we were going to be cutting it close, but, I thought that there was that chance to get down to pit road speed. That time right there, I power slid so badly coming up off of the actual racing line off turn 4. Once I got onto the apron, the car got so light. I think when I was sliding as much as I was, I couldn't actually slow the car down like I wanted to because we were 5 miles per hour over. I'm surprised I even got it that close. I was on the brakes what felt like forever trying to slow that thing down. But it just wasn't slowing down enough because I slid the tires. I gotta hope that I didn't hurt the lefts too badly because I did, again, take right sides only. We're currently in 4th, by the way. So there might be 2 cars that haven't pitted yet then. Which would be obviously Tony Raines. And then somebody else, whoever would be in 2nd. I overdrove turns 1 and 2 pretty badly there. They're 3 wide behind me. Use reverse to slow. I'm not doing that. I don't feel like blowing the blowing the motor up. I've never tried that. I've never even really thought about that, to be completely honest, but I've blown engines at like Michigan Fontana on these EA games before. I don't think that would help. think David Stremme in the 40 car is going to be this next lapper. Looks like the Coors machine. Not the original Silver Bullet, but... Well, it's not really the Silver Bullet because there's a lot of black on this car. But it's still the 40 Coors machine. Just not the OG one. 60 laps in, Tony Raines still leads the race. Technically, he would be the 10th different driver to lead in this one. I wish I knew exactly how far behind Jeff Gordon I was. We're not going to know until Raines decides to pit. .19.5 seconds off the 96 car. It is lap 63. Still don't know exactly who the second place car would be either. Oh, Raines is, Tony Raines is out of gas in turn 2. Kyle Petty going to take the lead from him. So Petty would be that other driver. Just got Raines for position, up to 3rd now. And the caution is out. Kyle Petty might have just crashed off turn 4. A lot of smoke. Yep. He might have ran out of gas right in front of the lapper that was in front of Jeff Gordon, and that will bring out our first caution at Michigan. Not only this race, but between both races combined. Well, now this is interesting. I would expect that the entire field's going to come down to pit road, because now it's going to take the fuel mileage race out of it. So we're going to pit. Oh, man, they're staying out. They're going to try to stretch it. Well, we're going to be good on fuel, but now we're going to lose all this track position. And there wasn't hardly anybody a lap down. Got to take the half round of wedge back out of the car again. 4 tires while we're down here. Full tank of gas. Well, no fuel mileage race anymore unless we get a caution in a weird spot on the edge of another fuel window. But it's all right. Now we can push. I'm okay with this. I'm surprised they stayed out. I thought they were going to do the same thing I did, honestly. They're going to try to make it.
Nobody else besides
All right, well, about to find out exactly how many cars we got on the lead lap then. So we're going to be the last of them, minus the free pass car. 33. After the fantasy driver behind us got the free pass lap, 69. Restart, green flag back in the air here at Michigan. That was not a good restart either. That's how you avoid speeding on pit road. You pit under caution. Yeah, we got a fuel advantage. Those 3 caution laps, he might have been able to save enough. Let's see if they jockey for the lead back and forth again like they were earlier, too. Laney currently 24th. Or 32nd. I don't know why I said 24th. Yeah, Gordon Holt's on to the restart lead. Look at the front middle portion of that pack. Kind of faintly see them spread all the way across the racetrack in the middle of the corner. That was the case through 3 and 4 that last time. Kind of looks like that again up there. Get close to the exit of turn 2. Down to the apron to make that pass through 3 and 4. I have the fresh tire grip to do so. Ryan Newman getting a lead for the first time today. Petty didn't get credited with a lap led in there, so Newman would now be the 11th different driver to lead here today at Michigan. Restarted in second. We got trouble off of turn 2. And up to 15th now for Dave Blaney. In fact, Jeff Green and Elliott Sadler were towards the front of that pack. I'm not sure if they were exactly the two that got together, but we got problems. I was actually kind of far enough behind them that I was able to see it, full throttle it down to the inside, not give up any time, and gain 17 positions in the process. No caution. Kyle Busch has really dropped back, too. Running in 3rd place for all that time earlier in the day, and now he's back to 14th, right in front of Dave Blaney. 45, 45, pit 41 to go. Yeah, I mean, it really depends on where we're at in traffic. If I don't have anybody to draft off of, I think the sooner we can pit, the better. After everybody else, I definitely want to go at least a few laps past lap 50, so I don't have to really worry about having to really save the rest of the race. So I'm not going to go to like lap 102 and then pit there. I'll definitely go beyond that. Drive to the inside of Busch off turn 2. So we've led more laps than we did in the first race at Michigan. And on top of that, I am better on fuel than it was the first race at Michigan, and we've had one more caution than we did in the first race. I wonder if Brian Newman has better fuel than Jeff Gordon. 2.5 seconds off the lead. The pass on Vickers was for 13th.
Number 187, outside.
187 car for position.
Still hanging on. Go ahead and get on by. He's not gonna fly. Clear, all clear. Going outside.
Move to the inside of Sterling Marlin.
Clear. Going outside.
I think I've got him this time.
Let's go get another one.
Yep.
14 cars is looking high. Okay, all clear. The 2 car, high up high. Clear on either side.
We're back inside the top 10, passing Kurt Busch through turns 3 and 4. Lap 82 at the line. A little over half the race remaining here in the GFS Marketplace 400 at Michigan. Looks like Jeff Gordon's still up there battling with Ryan Newman. Nearly side by side off the exit of turn 2. Good rally for Martin Truex Jr., by the way, also. He started towards the back with us. He's up to 7th. Only that one restart, so he's just been picking him up and putting him down. Mark Martin, who has led at one point today, side by side with Michael Waltrip. Big gains by the 22 of Dave Blaney.
Just what I like to see. One more down. Good job, buddy.
Drives under both cars. I just think I overall have a quicker car than I did the first race here this season. I don't know what it is, but it feels racier. I feel like I'm not having to use as much draft. And I'm making up decent speed. I literally have the same setup I did earlier this season, so I don't know why that would be the case. Pass made for 8th. And Jeff Gordon is not in 2nd, so he wasn't the car battling with Newman. A few spots ahead of where we're at currently. Blaney in 8th. Gordon in 5th. Looks like Biffle's in 3rd. Looking to at least keep his regular season championship hopes up for at least another run. Our stream tomorrow is going to be at noon Eastern time, whether that would be the Bristol Night Race or the New Hampshire Chase Opener. More than likely it will be Bristol, because I doubt we'll clinch the regular season title today. With Biffle running inside the top 5. Jeff Gordon looking to pass him for 4th. And will do so. Jimmy Johnson's in 3rd. Blaney under Truex. Dale Jr. leads. So he was the one battling Newman. Wrapping the white line all the way through 1 and 2. Gordon now to 3rd. Biffle back to 4th around Johnson. .576, fastest lap of the race. Oh, trouble! Turn 1! No caution. I think Biffle got into the right rear of Tony Stewart, and the seas parted right in front of us for us to get to 3rd place. Johnson got through that too, because he's still right behind us. But that took out Gordon, Biffle, and Stewart. Entering turn 1. I didn't do it. Earnhardt can get back alongside Ryan Newman. It'll slow him down enough. Maybe we can catch him. How was there no caution for that? It looked like Tony Stewart was going to hit head-on into the wall. He was going right across that front bumper of Biffle's car. Like I said, on the right rear corner panel, too. We were just in the right place at the right time there. If I was on the outside, I would have been in that, too. We stayed out of trouble today, so that's been good. Dale Jr.'s been working on Ryan Newman, just hasn't been able to make that pass yet. Blaney getting a little bit of a draft off Dale Earnhardt Jr. down the back straightaway there. Should get more of it on the front stretch this time. Dale Jr. might have lost Newman a little bit through that corner. Blaney trying to stay in the line with these cars. Buccaneer Bruce, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, we're definitely reeling them in. Once I was able to get a little bit of a draft down the straightaways, that really helped me try to get the run. We got fresher tires on these guys, so why not try to take advantage of it? Split strategy, maybe we could still lead the most laps today. No, I haven't led many up to this point. 3 or 4 of them. Blaney under Earnhardt for second.
Tell you what, I don't like what I'm seeing out there, buddy. You're looking real
Oh, a little contact.
easy on those tires. Go on.
We're good. You know, maybe I should just be patient. On second thought. Maybe it's in our best interest just to watch how this goes about. We don't need any more cautions.
Not blocking like usual. Should be about halfway on fuel right now.
They're the only one to pit during that caution at lap 65. Well, I'm drafting Dale Jr. all the way down the back stretch, or front stretch. Good pass made for second. Now going for the lead through 3 and 4, and Blaney's got it. Clear off turn 4. We'll never be able to break away with how strong the draft is here. So it's just a matter of trying to stay in front of them to the end of the straightaway on both ends of the track. Oh, they had contact. Right off turn 2. Newman and Earnhardt. Newman got the worst of it, it looks like. Dale Jr.'s pulled away from him. Newman's backed up to right around where the 4th place cars on back are. NASCAR 2007, your third favorite of the series. 03 is your favorite. Yeah, that is the only one I haven't played of the Thunder series. I just didn't have it growing up, and I never went back to, like, purchase it. We started these classic game playthroughs at NASCAR Thunder 2004. The first one I ever had was NASCAR Thunder 2002. But, yeah, 07's up there for me personally, too. But that's solely because I had the PSP version of this game growing up. This is the first PS2 version I've had of this game. I didn't have this version of it, so playing it on a console is a little bit different, but at the same time, I mean, it is the same game, ultimately. NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005 is my favorite, personally. I didn't play 08 or 09, so that will be new when we get there on the channel. Once we wrap up this 07 season, we will move to NASCAR 08 and do a playthrough in the season modes there. Earnhardt to the outside. Bold move. Blaney didn't go up to block him, gave it to him. A lot of cars cycling off pit road here at lap 98. How far is Dale Jr. going to go? Blaney up to block. Be halfway in a couple laps. Yeah, I've definitely blown a motor at Michigan and Auto Club before. I was actually kind of talking about that a little earlier in the stream. Yeah, Thunder 04. I remember doing that on the career mode several times in races that I probably would have won otherwise. So Dale Jr. pit that last lap, which would have been coming to lap 100. Ryan Newman behind us is still going. Now he's pitting with, it looks like maybe Greg Biffle just behind him. Couldn't tell for sure. A few other cars still staying out of the rear view, although some of those guys might have been on and off of pit road already. Here's Dale Jr. Tell you what, if we got a caution in this situation, though, we would trap so many cars a lap down. Lock us into a guaranteed top, probably 2 or 3 finish. I think once the entire field ends up pitting, we're going to have a lap lead on them. Again, just to reiterate, no other driver hit pit road when we did. Back during that first and only caution of the race, around lap 65, 66. I think it was 65 when the caution actually came out. For Kyle Petty. Bringing out the yellow. We're not going to give up any time to these guys if we keep them in our rear view. So it really doesn't hurt us to go far on the fuel run because of it. Still got a 4-second lead over whoever's still in second, trying to push the fuel window here. I personally think I'm going to go fuel only on this next stop and then take 4 tires on the final stop. Just so that way, in case we get a late caution, if we were to get a late caution in this race, at least I can have the 4 fresh Goodyears to try to hold guys off behind me or, you know, charge in front of some sort of nature. We're definitely still racing some that can make it on one more pit stop the rest of the way. And we, again, still have to pit twice from where we're currently at. Right, so it sounds like Kyle Petty, who brought out our first caution of the day, is now going to be working his way back out onto the racetrack. Mike Gafford, thanks for tuning in. .95 laps to go here at Michigan this time by. This is my home track, so I'm hoping we can get a win here. We finished 4th in our first Michigan race earlier this season. Ran out of gas in the final lap. I was running 3rd, lost a spot out of it, but we just didn't have the speed that we had for the Michigan race this time around. So Junior again on that outside lane. Fresher tires as well. Laney gave it up through turns 1 and 2, but holds clear on the exit of the corner still. Doesn't want anybody to get around him and potentially pull away on their fresher tires. Puts him in the best scenario to potentially cycle back towards front of the field. Pickers definitely have to be on it. They were slow the first green flag stop. We went rights only, and they ended up making a mistake. I'm going to have to be on it in the sense I got to make sure I don't speed like I did the first time either. We still have to execute here, even though we're in a good fuel position. honestly didn't think I was going to be able to hold Dale Jr. off another corner there. I felt like he had enough on me through 1 and 2 that time to at least stay alongside of us at the very least, and that didn't happen. We took the lead at what, lap 91, 92? We've led about 20 laps in the race now. From the few that we led earlier in that first fuel run. Three wide for third, actually, it would be. Newman in the middle, Johnson on the bottom. Greg Biffle was on the outside. I'll probably just stay on the strategy and go rights only on this stop instead of fuel and 4. I think we'll be okay. I don't trust the pit crew enough to make a 4-tire stop in a crunch time situation and not lose time. So I think we're just going to still stay on that strategy on the 2-tire stop because of that. Johnson had enough of a run there. Is he going to be able to clear? He was not, at least getting into turns 1 and 2. Oh, contact further back there. Greg Biffle, Ryan Newman get together. We do stay green yet again. Dale Jr. escaped to the inside. Here's that 45 car of Kyle Petty. Johnson held up behind him. Blaney clears Petty easily off turn 4. 89 laps to go here at Michigan. Slow as Kyle Petty's running compared to the rest of the field, he might end up causing a second caution. First time he was at speed, this time he's not at speed. We don't need any more yellows, though. I mean, we'll find out when we get later in the race. You know, who we're going to be battling late, but the position we're in, and the way I see it, I really like this to stay green. We're in a great spot. So we'll take a half around a wedge out of the car. Sorry, put a half around a wedge into the car. Try to tighten it up a bit. For when we make this right side tire only pit stop, the lefts will be a little older. We'll change the lefts on the stop after that. Take the wedge back out of it again and go on to the finish. I'm going to pit at lap 116. Fuel's getting pretty low. Just in case of a caution, we'll run this out a little further. Just if we were able to trap these guys a lap down. Second place would get the free pass, which would be Jimmy Johnson as of right now. So we'll stay out this time. We'll pit the following time. Johnson on the outside. Dave Blaney still hanging it out down low. All clear. Exit of turn 2 on Johnson again. Got to get to the bottom, entering turn 3 so we can pit this time. Don't speed. We sped the first time we made a green flag stop. I'm backing it up a little more this time. There we go. Oh, I spammed through it. No! I did that at Indy, too. We pitted under green, and I spammed through my pit selection. I mean, it should be a 4-tire stop, I would assume. But I wanted to take 2. Yeah, it's going to be a 4-tire stop. I really wanted to take 2. Oh, that means these lefts are going to go the rest of the race unless we get a caution. Yeah, I knew we were going to lose the lead because of that. Well, I didn't speed on pit row, but I might as well have because we're probably going to be more than 5 seconds off the lead, which would be about the same penalty-wise if we had sped. I didn't even get the car full of fuel either. Are you kidding me? How does that happen? Why is it not just like automatically a full tank of gas? So we're going to have to go fuel only on the next stop then, because... Oh my gosh. Even when I do the right things right, how does that happen? Why is it not a pit option to just put a full tank of gas in there? Like, it was an option for 4 tires. Why would they only put half a tank of gas in the car? So now if I spam through it next time, it's going to be fuel only, but... I mean, we went from a good situation, and now, I mean, there's no chance that we're going to make it on fuel. We're going to be 7 laps short of making this race on one more stop. I was not trying to do that, clearly. I spammed through the pit selection. At least at Indy, it was the right stuff. This was not. Indianapolis 2 days ago, it didn't do anything. I backed up the pit road entry, so I tried to gas it up getting to the commitment line so we'd get right around 70 miles an hour because I was coasting at like 66, 67. Just to get a little extra speed there. We literally would have been better off speeding and taking rights only because at least we would have had enough fuel in the car. And we'd be closer to the front of the field. Yeah, we're going to need another caution. Who wants to wreck? Yeah, that's what I would think too. 38.445 that last lap.
The one car is coming up quick.
Up to 8th after Kyle Petty was slowing down a bunch of cars there at the end of the front stretch. Picked up a few spots on the leaderboard. We're going to be way short. I'm upset with the game more than anything at this point. Like, did I spam through the pit selection? Yes. But I don't know why it wasn't already an option to take a full tank of gas, like, automatically. Oh, we had one. The problem is we went caution-free in the first Michigan race. So in all likelihood, you wouldn't expect there to be anything here either. Yeah, I'm going to go fuel only on this next stop, and then probably end up going rights only on the final stop then. Have to select it now? What do you mean by select it now? I mean, I could go into the pit options and change it. I would just think that the default settings would automatically have you take 4 tires and have you take a full tank of gas. I don't know why the default setting would be half a tank of gas and 4 tires. I'm not going to say the game is at complete fault, but I'm just kind of befuddled at why it's not like the default setting. Jimmy Johnson leads for the moment. We'll see if he'll be able to hold on throughout the rest of the race. I mean, there's probably going to be other cars that aren't going to be able to make it on one more stop. So the least we can do is try to beat them. Redstick 77, thanks for tuning in. I'm definitely not using the keypad. I've tried that before. I can't remember if it was you or somebody else. Somebody else mentioned something about using them. I've always used the analog stick. And I tried using them, with no steering assist, I mean, I wreck just turning off into the corner. I mean, it would take so much practice for me to do that. I mean, you got to think, I've been doing this since I've been using an analog stick as early as I can remember, 4 or 5 years old. I mean, I obviously wasn't any good at 4 or 5 years old, probably, at playing these NASCAR games. I was probably wrecking everybody at every every lap. But yeah, I'm definitely not doing that. I'll test the reverse thing out. I don't want to do that in a race necessarily. I'll have to, like you mentioned, practice it. I believe it works, but I don't want to use it and like use the same braking point and then slow down too much if it works better than braking. I don't know how you use the D-pads. I've never heard of anybody using that before. I'm definitely, I mean, I'm not changing my ways. I'm doing perfectly fine with the analog stick. We've won 12 races this season. Johnson lost the lead with that slow up from Kyle Petty. Greg Biffle's out in front now. Use it with braking. So what, you use the reverse and the brakes at the same time? Can only use the D-pad. I don't know why I'm just finding out about this. I've always used the analog stick. I thought it was just kind of a normal thing that everybody uses the analog stick. Maybe that makes me more skilled that I'm able to use this. I just feel like it's way smoother in the corners. You can really turn when I want to. Yeah, when I tried using the D-pad, I kid you not, I was wrecking almost every corner. It's just something I hadn't done. I mean, it's probably the same way if you were to use the analog stick for the first time after not using that pretty much your whole life. Lenny looking for second on Tony Stewart. Side by side, back straightaway. Should be able to win this battle into turns 3 and 4. A lot of contact. And a dangerous area of the car and spot on the track, nonetheless, to make contact. Well, you know what? Now that I'm up here, try to push Biffle and make him use more fuel. The fuel only stop, I would like to think, should keep us on the lead lap. I'm just going to pit now. I'm going to speed again. Oh my gosh, dude. Oh. I can't catch a break. Oh my goodness.
Adding fuel.
Michigan Pit Road is like my worst enemy. It's 2 races. We sped twice. Gonna go a lap down anyway, because I sped. '29th. We'll get back on the lead lap soon. They're all going to end up having to pit. Tough scenes. Could you imagine, though, if I, like, say, finish 29th? Greg Biffle wins the race and he eats that many more points away from me? We might not clinch the title at Bristol tomorrow either. The regular season title, that is. I'm trying to choke away this regular season title in a bad way. Between Watkins Glen and this.
Number 45 is going for the turn right. Clear, all clear, whatever you need.
I do like using manual transmission a lot. I just don't use it for the PS2. The controller I have, personally, I feel like when I try to shift, I feel like there's a delayed timing there. I've tried a couple different controllers to see like what it is, and it might be more of a PS2 thing, because I definitely use manual transmission when we were doing the Heat games, for instance. And all that on NASCAR, or sorry, the PS4. I almost said NASCAR 4. The PS4. If I just didn't speed on pit road, I'm just killing myself time-wise. It's 5 seconds, but 5 seconds is a lot. That could be a couple positions in the finish of this race. Still holding on to hope for a caution. Problem is, now that I'm a lap down, we can't have a caution until after everybody else pits. I'll go 4 tires if it's under yellow, but I'm not going to do that under caution because I know I can save positions. If I don't speed on pit road, at least. I might still be able to save a couple spots. I know it's only a couple spots, but every spot matters. Especially for my moral compass. 60 laps to go. 59 considering we're a lap down. Newman and Johnson side by side for almost an entire lap here. He's after right behind Jimmy. Dive under JJ through turns 1 and 2. All clear on him off the exit of the corner. Try to draft up to Tony Stewart in the 20. Well, you guys know me. I'm going to fight till the very last lap. Obviously, we're going to try to get the best finish we possibly can. We've got cars pitting right now. Everybody pitting at this moment, they're definitely not going to make it on fuel. We did have one caution, so I'd like to think there's going to be more drivers to make it in this race than what we had in our first race at Michigan. Yeah, we won't have to go with a full tank of gas on this next stop. So we can shorten it again if I manage my tires well enough. Patience, young grass. That's what I need to keep telling myself when I go onto pit road is patience. Don't speed. Greg Biffle staying out. Tony Stewart's pitting already. He's definitely not going to make it. I think he'd be in third. Biffle leading, Johnson second. Up to 22nd. It's better than 29th where I was. We still got little ways yet. Really waiting to see Jimmy Johnson just pit. Lap 145. So Johnson comes to pit road. There's Tony Stewart up to 20th. Kyle Petty going to slow down Greg Biffle quite a bit. And we're going to unlap ourselves on the back straightaway. Hoping Biffle pits this time too. This is definitely going to shake up the chase standings, I would think. How many more spots are we going to get on the front stretch here? A few more. Probably going to get Jimmy out of the pits up here, I believe. Yep, 16th. All right, 16th, lap 147. We got Biffle off turn 2 just a bit. He'll probably catch us down the straightaway. I don't think he's going to pit this time, at least. Please pit. No, he's not going to. I didn't think so. These might be 2 more positions up here as well. 144 and the 7. They could be a lap down already. Who knows? 15th. Might be a couple more spots. There's Newman. That's a spot. 14th. 142 is definitely not a position. Biffle's still out on the track. It's technically lap 150 for Greg Biffle and where he is at currently. So he's definitely going to be able to make it to the end on fuel. We're obviously at that point where we're pretty much going to have to ride it out the rest of the race. And there goes Biffle. Biffle's coming in. So he is going to leave pit road with exactly 50 laps to go. Kurt Busch is still out on the racetrack. Man, we need a caution. Yeah, I really did think about pushing him. Honestly, if Kyle Petty didn't catch him, I think I was going to end up just doing that. See how long Kurt Busch goes. Just now breaking into the top 10. Kurt Busch goes out yet another lap. Up to 7th for Dave Blaney. I'm hoping somebody runs it out of gas and brings out a caution like Kyle Petty did earlier. Up to 5th. Kurt Busch still out on the track. Kurt could win if Biffle runs out of gas on the final lap. But the position Biffle's in right now, I think he's going to make it on fuel. And he'll probably cycle back into the lead as well. I wasn't really trying to enter that low. It actually worked out really well. Yeah, Petty could help us gain some spots too. We have nobody anywhere. We have one car and then just a giant gap before anybody else. Still waiting on Kurt Busch to pit. "33 seconds off the lead. Kurt Busch still out there. Come on, Kurt, run it out of gas. Bring out a caution. Please. I'm begging you. Give us a chance." Speaking of Kyle Petty, here he is. Scott Riggs is going to get held up by him for now. Big run for Blaney behind Riggs. Kurt Busch finally has pit. Lap 155. And the other car that was with him has also just hit pit road. So Dave Blaney will be back in the lead entering turn 1 here at Michigan. At this point, we run until it's dry. Well, not quite literally. We'll pit before I run out of gas, but run it as far as we can in the hopes that we catch a caution so that way we can pit under the yellow. I would imagine we might drag some other cars with us. Although that wasn't the case the last time we got a caution. Yeah, borderline top 15, I think, is what we're looking at. I'd probably say anywhere between 15th to like 19th, 20th. Probably get up to. It is still a fuel mileage race, even with that one yellow for everybody else. Gosh, would be in such. I mean, we'd be 2.5 seconds ahead. Well, it'd be like a lap in 2 seconds because we will still have to have pit one more time yet, but Man, that was bad. I'll see what the tire wear is, and if it's like somehow still in the green, I'm definitely not taking tires. It's going to depend how long they're going to be in the yellow for me to decide on whether or not I'm going to actually take tires. Because they should have the longevity to go that far. Just the grip side of things. Sooner a caution comes out, the more likely we are to drive through the field and get to the front for the win, which should have around 28 cars on the lead lap, give or take. Halfway out of gas with 41 to go, entering turn 3. Still a 1 second lead. I think it looks like Jimmy Johnson's in second. Can't believe how much grip the apron has here. It's like Fontana, but it's not Fontana, it's Michigan. This track's had a little bit more overall banking. Not as progressive. Found a little speed down there at times. So we definitely know Johnson's not going to be good on fuel. Doubt the rights will be great. It's more for time management, I think, is the big thing there, because I definitely know that the tires are not going to be necessarily great on the rights that far into the run. But I don't think it's going to be too bad to the point where I'm going to be sideways every corner. That's all I don't want. Because then whatever time I gain going fuel only, I'll only give that back up anyway. I mean, I'm pretty much looking at this thing going green the rest of the way. It's what we have to plan off of. If it doesn't, obviously that helps us, but... do our best. Try to do the best with what we've got. Catching up on Kyle Petty in the 45 car. We get up off turn 4. Jimmy Johnson still a few car lengths behind us. Hold everybody up, Petty. Cause an incident for me. Just hook a guy if you really want to. I don't care. However we get it. Fuel only set because I preset it earlier. But it is at full tank right now. I don't know exactly what lap we're going to be pitting. The closer we get to it, I'll pause it. Go through that preset list so we don't have to worry about having that issue again. Well, at least we're still leading a decent amount of laps. Trying to look at the bright side of things. 32 to go at the line this time by. Honestly, if Johnson passes me, I'm probably just going to draft behind him. Try to see if we can tango away from as many cars as possible. Just create more speed. It's not more for a, fuel issue. We're not going to be pushing Johnson's fuel tank any further by doing that either, because, well, even if we do, I should say he's going to be short anyway. Led that lap at the line barely. He hasn't really had the speed to just come up here and pass us, though, either. Just making up so much speed through the middle of the corner. Giving him the outside. If he had enough speed to get down to the bottom, that would have made this work a lot easier. He's not trying to hit him. Right, rear wearing just a little. 28 laps to go at the line this time by. Yeah, honestly, overall, I think we've just got a speedier race car this time around than what we did last time we were at Michigan. So I could do anything of what we're doing right now. There he goes. Finally got around us. Now he's going to get caught behind Kyle Petty. I'm not slowing down for him. Oh my gosh. Finally got around us. Took him an extra corner to get by that 45 car. 25 laps to go at Michigan. Holding out for a caution. Even after we pit, if we could stay on the lead and help us. Again, like I mentioned already, though, the earlier, the better. Surprised Petty hasn't blown up and caused the yellow. Yeah, he's definitely down a cylinder. I wish that would happen. He just does not want to pass on the bottom. Had to run down the back straightaway, and he just went right back to the outside again. Maybe we can lead the most laps. I don't really know who we're battling with exactly for that. At this point, we're only a couple laps away from pitting. 21 laps to go. He could be fuel saving. I don't think he's going to make it an extra 3 to 4 laps because he was one of the early pitters. Because I would just imagine that there's no way that I'm running this much faster than him because I'm not blocking him or anything. Like, I'm giving him the outside. He doesn't want to take the bottom. The couple times that have, you know, kind of stayed high on the straightaway when he had to run, he just keeps going to the top. I make up so much ground in the corners. We gap him by a few car lengths as we did right there through 3 and 4 again. 20 laps to go at the line. Yep, there it is. So we just clinched the most laps led. So at least that was worth leading all these laps on the strategy. 10 bonus points. Yeah, because he's not getting much draft on the straightaways when I'm running middle of the back stretch, middle of the front stretch, or low side of the front stretch, and he's running the middle top. Lane or two above. Getting pretty light on fuel. Gonna stay out at least one more time. All right, pit options. Oh, man, what do we do here? It's going to add around a wedge. We can make it on just a half a tank. .3 seconds, 2.5 to 3 seconds for rights. Not counting if they make a mistake. I think I'm gonna go around and a half and go fuel only. I'll tighten the car up for whatever the old tires are gonna bring us. Don't speed. All right. I didn't speed. I didn't spam through this either, but yep. Splash and go. Well, we were 2 for 4 and not speeding. Oh, my water's empty. I didn't drink any last pit stop. I don't remember running out of water. Damn water bottle's empty. They can't give me a new one. I'll tough it out. We only got like 16 to go. Well, we'll stay on the lead lap, which is big.
Wait to merge. There's some faster cars coming up on you.
22nd. How many more spots are we going to gain with cars pitting before the end of the race? We could still catch a caution. And it would help. And then if a caution comes out, you know, do you pit or not pit? I think it's going to depend on how many cars in front of us pit. Because if there's a lot of cars in front of us that pit, I'm going to stay out and get more track position. Honestly. But if they end up staying out, then obviously we'll do opposite. If we're only going to get a couple positions, I'll just pit for the 4 tires. So that's kind of our strategy going forward if we were to catch a caution. Far enough back, we'd definitely be able to see around how many are taking that left-hand turn before we have to make our decision and it closes. I maybe could have gotten away with only taking and putting a round a wedge in instead of a round and a half. Well, we're definitely getting a better finish here than I did at Watkins Glen yesterday, that's for sure. This one's tough to comprehend, though, honestly. Spamming the pit options on pit road was the only thing that costed us today. We did have 2 speeding penalties. That's 10 seconds a time. But ultimately, you know, even with that, we still would have been okay. The one time of the first 3 stops I didn't spam, or didn't speed, I spammed the pit options. Like, come on, man. That last entry was the best. Now we just got to sit back and see who's going to win this thing. Assuming we stay green. We only have 12 laps to go for Johnson. I mean, I still want there to be a caution, but Now it's about to be 11 laps to go for Jimmy. We're not going to have many laps left on a restart, which is another reason why I would stay out to get more track position, because I know the car's not going to fire off well in the restart zone, because that was the case the last restart. Jimmy's fuel saving. We'll see if he can save enough. Johnson has not won a race yet this season. Jeff Gordon, his teammate, finally got his first win. And remember, Jimmy Johnson's right on the chase bubble right now, too. So a win is just ginormous for him. Somebody was just on pit road that we passed for 21st at the line there. Every car in front of us we catch could be a position as well. Although I don't think that this guy's a spot. It looks like it's a Dover Monster in the 100 car. Jimmy putting back the fuel right now, too. To try to save. Is anybody going to catch him? We know Biffle's probably not saving. Although he could be. I mean, he's right on the number. 10 laps left. Will this be a spot? It is. Okay, that is a spot. It was worth passing him. Up to 20th. There's Kyle Petty in the 45. Cause a wreck, Kyle. I'll pay you. Well, 8 laps to go for Jimmy Johnson at the line. We've got cars pitting that I see on the front stretch. Few of them. And we'll start to work our way up on the leaderboard more and more. It's probably going to be a mix of lap cars and lead lap cars that are going to end up having to pit. Blaney's up to 17th, got 3 spots on the front stretch that time. 7 laps to go for Jimmy Johnson. Maybe they all run out. I know Kurt Busch isn't going to run out. Try to catch Denny Hamlin. It's definitely a position. I know Hamlin's not a lap down. So the guys that do make it, I'm hoping I can at least pass them for position like I did with the Dover Monster. Potentially Denny Hamlin here. It's another spot on the front stretch. Got one more, up to 16th. Johnson stays out of the pits again. 6 laps to go for Jimmy Johnson. Gonna try to draft with Hamlin here. Maybe try to run him out of gas. I'll have the speed to pass him at some point. This could be slowing me down some, too. It's hard to tell. Way quicker than him. It's 15th. I didn't gain another spot on the front stretch. Johnson's still out. 5 laps to go for Jimmy Johnson. Here in Michigan, that's 10 more miles. Yeah, I'm still leaning Biffle, but Kurt could win. If it's Johnson Biffle, that would be a new winner. Kurt Busch has 1 win on the season already, which was at Pocono. Got another spot on the front stretch there. 14th for Dave Blaney. That was the only spot. And Jimmy Johnson stayed out of the pits as well. I think this is Casey Kane in the 9 on the inside of the 42 of Casey Mears. couple more cars just hit pit road off turn 4. There are 2 of them down there. At least 2. How quickly I pulled away from Hamlin back there. Up to 12th. Oh, Johnson's pitting. Johnson out of gas off turn 4. He's not going to make it either. Figured he was going to be short, and he is. Blaney with the dive in 1 and 2. Bottom of the track. Casey Kane was a lap down. Casey Mears is not. So this will be for 11th. At the line, it was Biffle who took the lead that last lap. So now does Biffle have enough gas to make it to the end? 3 to go. We're going to get by Johnson, who's on pit road. That will be 10th place now for Dave Blaney. So we will get a top 10 finish. Biffle stays out. 2 laps left for Biffle. Maybe we catch a caution. We get a last restart here. We didn't get the green-white checker at Watkins Glen that we should have had yesterday. 145 car not for position. Somebody slow. Oh, it's Kurt Busch! Oh my goodness! Are you kidding me? Kurt Busch has just blown a motor with coming on 2 to go. Oh my gosh. He was one of the contenders if Biffle runs out of gas. That shakes things up even more. White flag for Biffle. Final lap. Oh my gosh. We got more cars pitting. Where are we going to end up? Kyle Petty's holding up a couple more in 3 and 4. Got to dig. I don't think either one of these two are for position, but he was holding them up. He was trying. He's trying to cause a wreck for me. It's too late now. Final lap. We're not going to get a yellow. Up to 8th on the front stretch. We'll see if anybody else runs out of gas on the final lap. Pass on the fantasy driver, not for position either. Checkered flag waving off turn 4. Greg Biffle's going to win at Michigan. First win of the season for the Biff. Well, Kurt Busch wasn't going to win anyway, but he costed himself a top 10. He's had quite a few engine failures here in the later going of this regular season. And you know what? I'll take a top 10. We're going to end up in 8th. Well, there's one car in pit road. Hold on. Well, that might have been Kurt Busch, actually. Yeah, it was Kurt Busch. All right, 8th place. I mean, you hate it because we would have definitely been in the thick of things for the win, especially that caution that came out earlier in the day. The only caution we had the whole race. And we led the most laps, so it really sucks to throw it all away like that. Jimmy Johnson not making it on fuel. Look at the guys who finished in the top 5 that he's racing around for those bubble spots in the points. Jeff Green and Matt Kenseth, who were 12th and 13th in points coming in the night, both get top 5s. That's 4 straight top 10s for Jeff Green. That's back-to-back top 5s for Jeff Green. A fuel mileage 3rd, a Kenseth 4th. Harvick finished 2nd after winning the first Michigan race this year. He almost pulled off the Michigan sweep. He only led 2 laps. Biffle from the pole wins it, leads 26 laps. Green didn't get bonus points. Kenseth did. Brian Vickers ends up 5th. Jamie McMurray 6th. Sterling Marlin 7th. There's Dave Blaney, who led the most, 55 laps. And 8th, Casey Mears 9th. And Denny Hamlin rounds out the top 10. Johnson finished in 12th on the lead lap after pitting. And he led 27 laps today. Looks like we had 14 drivers finish on the lead lap. So not a top 10 for Jimmy Johnson. Didn't need it. Dale Jarrett outside the top 10. Finished 17th. Who else of the bubble drivers? Yeah, Kurt Busch blew an engine there late. Stremme Sorensen finished. So Kurt Busch blew a motor. Paul Menard blew an engine. So it looked like we had 14 DNFs today. Kurt Busch, Paul Menard, Dale Jr. blew a motor. I didn't even see that. Kyle Petty many laps down at the finish there. Not Jimmy Johnson, because we saw him finish. I think that's J.J. Johnson, the fantasy driver. Jeff Gordon blew a motor. Oh, wow. We didn't see that either. He led 33 laps today. He blew up at lap 90. That was real early in the race. Elliott Sadler blew up at lap 86. He led 2. Another chase contender. Jeremy Mayfield, Tony Raines ran out of gas. We saw that. He never returned. B. Swift, fantasy driver, DNF'd. Joe Nemechek, Bobby Labonte DNF too, another perennial chaser. Finishes 42nd, no laps led. That's tough. P. Wells, poor P. Wells. 2 hours, 18 minutes, 37 seconds. Total time of the race today. Again, 1 caution, 31 lead changes, 3.6 second margin to victory, 173.13 mile per hour average race speed. Let's look at those point standings. That Vickers scheme is great. Yeah, I always liked that GMAC paint scheme he had. Me too. All right. Well, with Biffle getting the win, P. Wells with the fantasy driver. Some sort. He finishes last. Barely ran any laps. I'll tell you what, this is going to be a wild shakeup for the points. Got 346-point cushion over Greg Biffle. We had to come into the night plus 469 in order to clinch the regular season title with a few races to go. I got to get my calculator real quick on my phone. So we're going to have to... I think 312. We have to have a 312-point lead after Bristol tomorrow to clinch the regular season title. So now we control our own destiny, where if we just beat Greg Biffle tomorrow by, or at least we don't even have to beat him, we just finish within a few positions of Greg Biffle, and we will lock up the regular season title tomorrow afternoon. And we have the tiebreaker, so that's good. First win of the year, though, for Biffle. Gaps himself over Harvick. Well, barely, because Harvick finished second. Gordon with the DNF is still fourth, but likelihood of him getting top 3 is slim. He's almost a full race behind Harvick. But yeah, man, Ryan Newman in 5th, all the way on back. So tight right now. You got Newman in 5th. Dale Jr. blew up. He finishes, or is now 6th in points. He was 5th. Tony Stewart's still 7th. Dale Jarrett, not a great run. Same for Sadler. They're still 8th and 9th. Johnson, despite finishing 12th, is now the 10th driver. He beats Bobby Labonte. Labonte goes from 10th to 13th in points tonight. Wow. Labonte loses 3 spots in points because of the engine failure and finishing second to last in 42nd. Though he's still only 59 points behind Johnson. So you have 59 points separating Jimmy, Kenseth, Green, and Labonte. And Elliott Sadler in 9th has a 107-point cushion over Kenseth. So mathematically, I mean, he could still fall out with an engine failure tomorrow at Bristol. Same for Dale Jarrett. It is so tight around that bubble. And if we lock up the regular season title tomorrow, we'll know who our chasers are going to be, because we'll end up simulating the final couple races of the regular season as well. Kurt Busch with the DNF. Man, if he didn't DNF today and would have ended up with at least a top 10, I mean, you would expect that would save him almost 100 points, at least keep him in it. It was going to be tough for him as it was. Stick the fork in him now. 13th on back is pretty much done. But, I mean, Labonte's not out of it yet. He might have lost 3 spots in points. I'm pulling for that 43 car, especially with Labonte behind the wheel of it. I'm really pulling for him. We'll see how it goes. So that's going to wrap up tonight's stream. We will be on tomorrow, noon Eastern time. So a little noon NASCAR. We'll run the Bristol night race. And I'll keep that updated in the community tab as well. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good rest of your Friday night. Enjoy some football. Got some college football playoffs going on right now, actually. And, yeah, I'm going to get to watching that. Get something to eat. And I'll see you back better than ever again in less than 24 hours tomorrow afternoon. Happy Friday, everybody, and see you next time.